Hi friends, my name is Melissa Mortensen from polkadotchair.com and welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, welcome to. I'm so excited that you're here. I started about a month ago doing some very informal quilt chats with you guys on here on my channel, just talking about the things, what's on my cutting mat, I think is what I called it, just what's on my cutting table. Just things I'm working on, maybe some fun fabric that I got in the mail that week, projects I'm working on. Sometimes I have had questions about patterns. I've asked you guys questions. You've been super helpful when trying to decide like how to format things or what is the best way to do things to make it easier for you guys. So just very informal discussions. I posted a few of those and then it was radio silence for a couple of weeks, and I apologize for that. I went out of town and I had intended to pre-record one of the videos and realized that it just didn't seem like authentic enough. Not that there's anything wrong with pre-recording. Obviously this is pre-recorded and I am editing it before I send it to you, but the video was gonna post like 2 weeks after I had filmed it, and like I said, it just kind of seemed to defeat the purpose of the video, which is just like a weekly chat about quilting. So I apologize for those of you that may have been looking forward to that. Maybe some of you didn't even notice, but as with anything new, when I take it on in my business, sometimes it takes a little while to kind of get in the rhythm of things and figure out the best way to run things. So thank you for your patience with that. That being said, next Monday is Memorial Day, so there will not be a video next Monday because of the holiday, but there will be one hopefully all the Mondays after that. And I'll try and keep you guys up on scheduling wise for the things. But we were talking about all those horse quilt patterns I was working on, and I literally by the skin of my teeth finished those before I left. They went to the editor and they're getting ready to go to the printer. They should have gone to the printer like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but I'm like doing my best, but just had a laundry list of things to do before we got out of town, which I'm sure you guys know what that's like, trying to get everything, your house right, and the pets and all the things ready to go out of town so you can enjoy yourself. So like I said, missed a couple weeks of videos with that, but I do have some fun things to talk to you guys about today. So I have 3 things. So first, I want to just briefly touch on the May kit of the month. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it because it is almost the end of May, and honestly, we have like 5 left. And I don't mean that to say like, there's 5 left, go buy them. I just literally mean there's 5 left. So I don't want to make a big deal out of it because I don't want to show you a lot about something you can't get, but you can get the pattern. It's red, white, and blue fabrics. I bet you have these fabrics in your stash, so if maybe you want to do it and just do it with the pattern instead of the fabrics in the kit. So I want to show you that. Also, if the kits that we do monthly are something you're interested in, if you go to our shop.polkadotchair.com, at the top there's a little button that says email me when kits are available, and we will email you literally the minute that they go up. Each kit I have over ordered because I never wanted you to feel like, oh, I have to click right this second if I'm going to get the kit. So I've overestimated how many kits we need because I want them to last the whole month. Hopefully I haven't overestimated so much that I have a house full of quilt kits that I don't need. But so far I feel like we're estimating pretty well because I just don't want it to turn into one of these like really fast grab it kind of things. So I've ordered a generous amount of kits, but being the end of the month, we're about out of kits. But I will show you them, and like I said, you can get the pattern separately and you can easily make this with fabric in your stash. So I feel like those TV people that do the cooking shows, I don't know if you've like seen like the old Julia Child cooking show. She used to have people sitting under her island like passing her up things. So I have all these things like stashed under my island here. So the kit is for a couple of fun red, white, and blue pillows. So there's the big one and a smaller one. When I decorate for seasons, I love to use like a bunch of different sizes of pillows. So the kit is to make both of the pillows. It includes the fabric for the back of the pillows and the binding. You can also, if you don't want to make this giant pillow, this is 24 by 24, this makes a really good table topper, and the fabric on the back, instead of cutting that seam in the middle, you can just use it straight and then you've got the backing for your table topper. So you can do it for that too. Like I said, we're down to just a few of them And like I said, I don't mean that as like go run and buy them, but you can also get the pattern. We have a digital pattern to make it and a printed copy that we'll send you. I know some of you guys don't have printers or access to printers, so we do have it so that you can get a printed copy if that's something that you need. The kit is with my sparkler fabrics. If you want to use sparkler fabrics, Hawthorne Threads has a full stock of all of the colors of them right now too, so I'll just show you those. And the fun thing is it just takes 1 fat quarter of each of the colors. So this is red, denim, and lake blue. And then we've got a fun stripy binding, white fabric, and then this fun gingham that is the backing fabric. So if that's something that you're interested in, I'll link it in the video. It's on shop.polkadotchair.com, and that is our monthly little drop. We also have a fun sticker that we did with the kit, and you can get the sticker all by itself if you want that too. So lots of different options if the kits are sold out by the time you guys see this video. So second thing, the Patreon group that I talked about last month, we just had the next block go up, so I thought I would share the block. It is this fun snowflake block. And you can kind of see, here's a few of the blocks that we've done. I'll just show, I don't remember if I showed these the last couple weeks. Just a few of the blocks that we've done so far in the group. And then this is a repeat because I had to make two. One to make and one to show you guys how to make it. So if you're interested in the Patreon group, we're making a seasonal quilt pattern that can be Christmas or wintry this year. It's patreon.com/polkadotchair. If you have questions, just drop them in the comments, or you can privately email me, and I will be happy to answer any questions that you have about that. But it's been really fun. So if you're in the Patreon group, make sure you stop by and grab your PDF for this month's block, and then the video for the block will be up today too. So I mentioned that I went out of town. It was a fun trip. My husband and his brother and his wife, we all went to England. For me, it was mostly like a work inspiration trip, and had like a list of very specific places I wanted to go to for some research for hopefully some upcoming fabric lines, blog projects, and stuff like that. But it was really fun to have company along the way. They were so generous with me. They let me plan the whole itinerary. I tried to make sure there was something for everybody in there, but we started in London, rented a car, which my brother-in-law was very brave, drove on the wrong side of the road, or the left side of the road I know it's not technically the wrong side of the road, drove on the left side of the road, and we stayed in Oxford for 2 nights and explored around there, did the Cotswolds, and then we did York, and on the way to York we stopped at Blenheim Palace and Chatsworth House. And Chatsworth House, if you are a Jane Austen fan and know the Pride and Prejudice movie with Keira Knightley, that is where they filmed Mr. Darcy's house. And aside from anything Jane Austen, the home is gorgeous, gorgeous tapestries and rugs, and the art and the setting, everything is just so beautiful. Spent 2 nights in York, explored York, and then went up to Edinburgh. Drove up there, kind of went the slow way, the long way, stopped in a couple little Scottish towns on the way. Did not really go up into the Scottish Highlands. We kind of figured that's a whole nother trip. Got rid of the rental car, stayed in Edinburgh for a couple of nights, and then took the train to London and did 3 nights in London. Did the Victoria and Albert Museum and some other places, and I went to Liberty of London. So I want to show you some of the fun stuff that I bought at Liberty. So for those of you that aren't familiar, you may hear quilters and bloggers talking about Liberty a lot. It's kind of just got like a real cult following in the quilt world. It is a design house that has been around. I'm not even going to offer the date because I think I'll probably get it wrong. It's been around since late 1800s, early 1900s. And they started making, it was a department store, and they started making their own in-house fabrics. And they had a mill where they made the fabrics and they sold the fabrics, and since then it has expanded into a full department store. And aside from the fabrics, which I just think it's so cool that a modern department store sells fabric and has a sewing section, they have the coolest selection of shoes and bags and homewares, just really unique stuff that you don't see everywhere else. And the way the store is set up, it's set up almost feels like a whole bunch of little individual stores within one big store, and it's only in London. And the fabric that they're famous for is this cotton lawn. They do have some silk, some poplins, but what they're the most famous for, in my opinion, is their cotton lawns. And a cotton lawn fabric, so I'll just pull one of them up, is a very finely woven fabric. It feels silky, but it is a cotton. It has a beautiful sheen to it, and it's very lightweight. You can kind of see, as I get this out, you can see how it drapes, almost like like a scarf would drape. It makes wonderful clothing, beautiful dresses, beautiful blouses, beautiful tops, and it can be used in quilting. It is a lot lighter weight than a traditional quilting weight cotton. This is a Liberty that is, that focus kind of did something crazy. This is a Liberty, which is a quilting weight cotton, and you can kind of see how that looks more like a quilting weight cotton, whereas this has got the drape with it. If you make a quilt with Liberty fabrics, there's a couple little things to do different. I'm actually working on a blog post kind of all about working with Liberty fabrics and why is it such a big deal? Why do people like it so much? But I did buy some fabric when I was there in London. I restrained myself. I bought a lot of fabric for Liberty because they sell a meter at a time. So I have used up my Liberty Fabrics budget for the rest of the year, but I'm okay with that. So I thought I would show you some of the prints that I got. So obviously there's this pink. And one of the things that I like about the ones that I picked out is normally Liberty Fabrics have they're kind of known for this really small floral. And I don't know, this is kind of more a typical Liberty fabric. And they have a couple florals that are really famous, and I thought I had pulled some out, but I don't have them. There's one called Betsy that I think you guys have probably seen a lot. And I loved that this one was a bigger scale, a little bit bigger scale. So I got this fun pink, and then of that scale, I got these beautiful greens with, I love that little pop of orange in there. And then I got this, which just screams summer to me. I got a meter of each. I'm gonna try, I don't have like specific projects for these, but I do kind of feel like I want to try and make some sort of like clothing apparel for myself. I only have a meter, so it might just be like a simple like t-shirt style shirt, but made out of like a woven fabric. But as I kind of figure that out, I will for sure keep you guys up to date on what I figure out. And then I just thought the colors in this one were so beautiful with the periwinkles and the brights, kind of that brighter periwinkle and that kind of citrusy green. And then I got this one, which is a little different, typical Liberty, but I just thought it was so sweet with the hearts on it. And I thought these two together might be really fun for something. Thought they kind of worked well together. And then I did get this one, which I showed you earlier. So I have a sofa in my living room that is navy blue, and I think I'm gonna make pillows, throw pillows. So I think I'm going to quilt it just like a grid quilt and then back it with like a velvet or something and do that for two big pillows, probably like 18 by 18. Again, I'll for sure, when I get this cut out and start working through it, I'll show you what I'm working on and be sure to have like a free tutorial on the blog for it. And then the last thing I got, which was kind of fun, I thought, is I got some scissors. Nice scissors, but they've got that Liberty fabric on the front, which I just think those are so charming. I don't know if I'll bring myself to, I will use them because they're good scissors, but also I just thought for pictures and everything, for you know, as I'm photographing projects and stuff, I just thought those were so sweet. Let me see, they are, here's the box. And it just says Betsy and Liberty print scissors made in Italy, created exclusively for Liberty of London. So you can order some Liberty of London stuff on their website, and if you're outside of England, they'll ship internationally. So you might want to, if it's something you're interested, they may have those on their website. So the third thing, was that three? I think we're at the third thing. I'm still a little jet lagged from all this stuff. But the third thing I want to talk about actually I think it's the fourth thing because I mentioned the Patreon block. Anyway, it's not important. A lot of you guys had asked about these quilts in the background, so I thought I would do like a little show and tell with what this quilt is in the background, because this is a fun project, and this one is a freebie you can get online. So this quilt, and I will drop a picture in, because I'm not going to be able to get it all in the Zoom. So if you can kind of tell from this quilt is a sampler quilt that looks like a giant bear paw quilt block. So you can kind of see from here. Here's like the corners of the bear paw, and then inside you have individual blocks. And there are 12 individual sampler quilt blocks. I can get all 4 of those in. Like I said, I'll drop a link that has more pictures. There's those, and then on this side we've got a few more. Hopefully you can see those. And then these 4. Which I just realized it's upside down. So sorry. There. I won't do the whole thing again, because they're right side up to me, they're upside down to you guys. But so we talked like a couple weeks ago, I mentioned some of the blocks I was working on for the Riley Blake Block Challenge that a group of designers and I started back in 2020. And since then, Riley Blake has taken it over, and it's like a very formal quilt along, and this was the 2024 Riley Blake Quilt Along quilt, and each of these blocks is a block that is shared for free on the Riley Blake website. I also have them on my site. I'll link to both of them for you. The fabrics that are in the quilt are from, so I had a fabric line come out last year with Riley Blake called Tulip Cottage, and all of the fabrics are from the Tulip Cottage line. Riley Blake set the blocks together in a different setting, and I just didn't love the setting they chose. There wasn't anything wrong with it. I just kind of was in the mood to do something different. So instead of setting them in the setting that they provided, I decided to turn all of the blocks into a bear paw quilt. Years ago, I had made another bear paw quilt about this size that I made with 10-inch pieces from like a 10-inch layer cake as the squares. And so I thought, oh, that would be kind of fun. Instead of using like the layer cake squares, I'll use pieced quilt blocks. And I love how it turned out. I think the colors came out so fun. I like the pantograph, which it's a tulip one, and I will find the exact name of it and link it here if you guys are interested in it. And you can find this on my blog. If you are a quilter and love to make like individual blocks, you definitely should check out the Riley Blake Block Challenge. The 2025 one is just wrapping up. I did not participate in it this year. I just, after Christmas when it started, I just had like too many other deadlines, because this is a project that I just sewed as a fun project for me. I did share it on my blog as I went, but for the most part it was just, I'm just gonna do this for fun and see how it goes, and I just didn't have time for a project like that in January, and I'm kind of regretting it, because my idea for the 2025 one is I was going to sew it out of red, white, and blue fabric so that when the block challenge wrapped up in June, I would have a fun summer quilt that I could use for Memorial Day or 4th of July. So I may still do that next year, but just a tip. And another thing that I've seen people do is, as they sew the block challenge blocks, they'll sew them out of Christmas fabric so that you get to kind of make a Christmas fabric, a Christmas quilt out of the fabrics, and then it wraps up in June, and that gives you several months to get the quilt pieced together and quilted before the holidays come up. So the 2020 quilt along I've linked before. That one was very informal, just bloggers, no kind of like structure or schedule to it. And then starting in 2021 is when they started doing that. So there's 2021, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's now 5 years of free quilt block patterns. They're on the Riley Blake website. If you go to RileyBlakeDesigns.com and then go to, I think, free content and quilt alongs, they're all there. They share, I think it was 12 blocks each year, so 60 free block patterns, and then each year they have a unique setting instruction. So lots of ideas for setting instructions. If you're a quilter, like I said, definitely recommend it. I kind of started sewing along with it kind of as like, oh, I feel like I should do this to support and it's my job. And honestly, since each of the blocks is designed by a different designer, they all use different techniques and piecing methods. And I have learned so much about different ways to put quilt blocks together, because some of the quilt blocks feature techniques that I never personally would have tried before. And so I kind of love that I've tried some new things, and it's given me really good practice. And also just making like a block a week, I felt like was just a good habit to get myself in. As I'm talking, I'm really wishing again that I had jumped on and joined in January, just because it did, like I said, personally, it was a good project for me. I didn't have the pressure of writing the pattern. I didn't have to design things. I could just really kind of play with the fabrics that I had in my sewing room and the block patterns that they had each week, and really kind of put something together that I was really excited about. So definitely check it out. The official quilt along's over, but you can still get all the patterns on the website. So there's no reason you couldn't just print out a pattern a week and, you know, if you missed it or had never heard of it, and just start sewing along that way, because it is educationally, it was really good for me to help build a lot of my piecing skills. So anyway, that's all I have for this week. There won't be a video next week because it's Memorial Day holiday, but then we'll talk again about that the next time, and then I'll be able to share the June kits with you, and I will have those shared with you a little earlier in the month. If you have any questions about those. And then I've kind of just like been going through my sewing room and looking for projects and thinking, like someone asked about like this little, like you guys are eagle-eyed, you can spot all the things like in the back of my sewing room. So like this little project's a freebie on the blog too. I'll link it, but one of the weeks, so maybe next time we'll talk a little bit more about this and some of the details of the bag. Fun little pile of things behind this island that I can share with you. But so thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, I'd love for you to subscribe or share this with a friend, and please say hello. One of my favorite parts about doing these videos has been all the comments that I've been getting, and I love to kind of chat with you guys a little bit in the comment section about that. And if like there's a project on the blog that you've seen and you have questions about it too, like drop a question in. Maybe if I still have it, I can pull it out and we can talk about it in one of my future videos.